Well, hello there, it's Runi, and welcome to the Travel Diaries, where I spend 45 days abroad, going to 10 countries and 17 cities. I had a 11-hour layover in New York, and I've never been before, so I decided to take a subway into the city. So I took the subway into Manhattan, and I was BSing the entire thing. I was by myself, so I made my way to Times Square because that is what a tourist does. And I didn't realize that I made it to Times Square, ironically. This was my first big girl solo adventure, and I've never been to New York City, and I was really scared to leave the airport, if I'm being honest with you, but once I made it into the city, I was feeling so independent. But I made my way into Bryant Park because I didn't have time for Central Park, but this little park was so cute. People were just having conversations and drinking a coffee. It was a moment, and that's little old me wishing that I had a book in this very moment, but I didn't have the space for it in my backpack, so that's me on my phone trying to decide what my next steps were going to be in Manhattan. I made my way to New York City Public Library because A, it was free, and B, it was right next to Bryant Park. New York City Public Library kind of acts as a museum of some sort, and they had this really beautiful room of this narrative of this butterfly, and it was just all so beautiful. So if you need something free to do, definitely check this library out, and a plus to it is that it offers free Wi-Fi, and as a traveler you always kind of appreciate that. I decided to take the subway back to JFK from Grand Central, and I just remember being so impressed by the facade. And of course, I had to look up at the zodiac constellations, trying to find my sign. Of course, I'm a Leo, but I just remember it being so vast and immense, and there's just so many people trying to get somewhere in a rush. And for the first time, I was just taking my time, not needing to be anywhere, because I left 3 to 4 hours to get back to the airport. But yeah, that is 5 hours in New York with me. Of course, it is not enough time to do New York justice, so I will be back one day. So for now, goodbye New York. Welcome to the Barcelona airport, where I spent too many hours staying at. So I made the mistake of arriving 2 days early for my group expedition to start, but at that moment I thought that transportation to the place we were staying was going to arrive tomorrow, but it was actually going to arrive 2 days later. But I spent one night at the airport, and when I figured out that I had to wait another day for transportation, I decided that I couldn't do that. So I took the Airbus into Barcelona on my own, booked my own hostel, kind of my first solo abroad trip. I was honestly super terrified, but things actually worked out. This is Plaza de Catalunya, which was very close to St. Christopher's Hostel, where I was staying at, which was very close to Las Ramblas. Las Ramblas is this street of local vendors selling souvenirs and flowers. There were so many flower markets down the street, and it was just filled with people and mostly tourists, but I don't know, I felt very main character walking down the street. And again, I was by myself, but my main mission on this venture was to find food. So I went to St. Joseph's Market, which is a place that just sells all types of foods, fresh fruits. I ended up getting so many things to eat, and then I got some strawberries, and I just sat on this little perch looking at people walking down Las Ramblas, and I was just so proud of myself because I was able to make it to Barcelona, book a place to stay, and yeah, that is my first abroad venture. So the night started at the bar connected to St. Christopher's Hostel, and they got a group of people to go out, and people in Barcelona go out from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. Of course, we didn't go out for that long, but we went to this club called Twenties. The next day, I met up with some girls that I met at the hostel the day before for a Barcelona beach day of swimming and tanning. And later that day, I met with people that I was actually going to be traveling with for the next month, and our first thing ever was a group dinner. So we were on our way to meet up with everyone, and that night ended with us just roaming around Barcelona and just taking it in. That night, we ended up at this local bar called Nose, where we ended up meeting the Kardashians' landscaper, who ended up paying for all of our drinks that night. And then we took a bike taxi to this club called The Wolf, where I realized I lost my debit card. And do I have any proof of this night? Nope, nada.
Oh my.
I was like dreaming.
Let's see. Sagrada Familia, Holy Family. And this church starts off in the Gothic style, and the original architect for the Sagrada Familia is the late Antoni Gaudí, and people of Barcelona love Gaudí. He not only started the idea of this church, but he also cared for the workers and the surrounding community of it. And so the front of it starts off in the Gothic architecture style, and then it turns into modernism as you go further inside and towards the back. And my favorite part is the lighting. So beautiful. The Bunkers, a place where you can catch sunsets and a view of Barcelona. So we took a bottle of very cheap wine and some sandwiches, and we caught sunset and we stayed there till nightfall.
Okay with that? Oh yeah. I also found water pack.
While in Barcelona, we took the subway everywhere, and it was super efficient, super clean, and honestly, so much better than New York City.
Is murderers. So we're going to leave a little bit earlier tomorrow morning. I know on the app it currently says 8 o'clock. We're going to try and leave the building at 7:30, which means we get into Paris. And once we get there, we don't have to spend 2 hours in the bus trying to get into a central hotel.